Volume 3 of the third-year arc is officially released, but instead of giving a sense of fulfillment that made you sleep well at night, the ending of this volume delivers a lot of questions that keep you awake until the sun rises. The ending of Volume 3 didn't give us a closing, but instead gave us a surprise opening to an even bigger stage. Right after the survival game ended, Mashima announced the new battle without even announcing the previous exam result, and we suddenly got a brief glimpse from the future. Ayanokoji said that the next exam will be very different compared to the survival game that only had a light punishment, and he also said this new battle will be a fight between trust and betrayal, and the result will decide whether they are worthy to graduate or not. The strangest thing about this ending is the fact that we rarely had this kind of surprise exam, because for the entire 32 volumes, this is the first time a new special exam will begin on the same day as the previous one. Since the third-year students already spent a lot of their energy just to survive, this new exam will greatly put them at a real disadvantage. However, even without considering the timing, Ayanokoji mentions that there is a grim atmosphere among the teachers, and even Hoshinomiya doesn't seem happy even after seeing her class get first place. This tense atmosphere is similar to what happened in Volume 10 first-year arc, where the class poll exam was suddenly announced before the final special exam for the first year. If the same thing happened again with this exam, it could explain why the new exam was suddenly announced, and also explain why the teacher doesn't seem relaxed with its existence. However, if a new exam is forced to happen to the point even the teachers don't seem to have a vote in this, that means there is someone in the higher position who decided to intervene, which is the director Sakayanagi, or maybe even someone higher. The class bowl exam was created to force an expulsion among the students, and this is aligned with Ayanokoji's monologue at the end of the volume, where he said this exam will have an even harsher penalty compared to the light penalty of the survival game. Coincidence or not, the class bowl exam also related to trusting and betraying your classmates, which once again aligns with Ayanokoji's monologue that the new exam will revolve around trust and betrayal. With all the similarity, I think it's safe to assume that this new special exam is forced to happen because someone interfered with the school. And since I don't think Director Sakayanagi would do such a thing, the intervention must have come from someone who could order him to change the rules, which is the Prime Minister Kejima. It's not impossible for Kejima to interfere, because he already did it back in Volume 12 second-year arc, but if he finally decided to make a move, the only possible reason must be the bet between Atsuomi and President Koenji. Since it will be bad news if his biggest supporter change side to Atsuomi, perhaps Kejima want to use this exam to get rid of Ayanokoji, especially since Ayanokoji said the next exam will have a harsh penalty. Or, this exam could also mean to force Koenji to move. Since Kejima must have got info that Koenji still didn't do anything even in the survival game, there is a chance he create an even bigger exam that will force Koenji to react even if he doesn't want to. Although the chance is small since it's unthinkable to create a really big exam in less than 48 hours, there is always a chance this exam was already prepared beforehand, but only decided after they saw Koenji didn't take the exam seriously. If we look again at the end of the volume, Ayanokoji mentioned that there are still a lot of boxes that are left unopened. So we could say that his exam was always meant to happen, but judging by the teacher's reaction, there must be some kind of change in the rules or penalty that made them uneasy. Whatever it is, it's clear that the new special exam is not going to be a simple and ordinary exam, and it could even change the entire direction of this series. There are at least 3 hints that have already been given to us about the new special exam, which are the penalty, the theme, and the member who will participate in the next exam. Since it's been mentioned from the start that the first and second year students are also present on the ship, it will be weird for them to just wait for 2 volumes straight, so we better expect the whole 3 grades to join the battle. Needless to say, a few characters with heavy relevant lore such as Tsubasa, Ishigami, and maybe the new first-year student will also participate. So the next volume has the chance to become a really important volume, with a lot of movement revolving around Ayanokoji. And if Kejima is really the one behind this exam, it makes perfect sense that they will start to make their move. Speaking of the new first-year student, she has been mentioned to have a remarkable physical ability. And since the uninhabited island exam and survival game mostly centered around physical ability, the new exam should be the perfect chance for her debut. This could also apply to Utomiya, because he has also been teased for having a high strength, to the point he was confident he could fight Ayanokoji. However, if that many characters are included in the story, it's hard to think the story could go smoothly in just a single volume. Depending on the content of the exam, the new special exam could even last for 2 volumes, and if the survival game is just the prologue, that means this year's island exam could take 3 volumes to deliver everything, just like the island exam in the second year arc. As for the penalty, Ayanokoji mentions that the penalty of the survival game will look light in comparison, even though the survival game results in 1 expulsion. So far, the highest penalty ever applied in a special exam was the uninhabited island exam that resulted in 15 expulsions, and if we compare both of the penalties, the survival game indeed looks cute in comparison. If the entire 3 grades participate, it is just to be expected there will be a lot of expulsion, especially because this is an island exam. However, since the last island exam only expelled a nameless third-year student, this new island exam should expel 1 or even more notable figures if they want to get the bigger impact. It will be a really bold move, but not impossible to happen since we already see Hiyori's monologue in Volume 3. Hiyori's monologue in the newest volume mentions the fall of her class, and she will take the punishment for being useless and leave the school. However, this monologue doesn't match with the result of the survival game, so there is a high chance Hiyori actually talks about the result of the next exam. If someone like Hiyori could get expelled, that will create enough shock that would tell us that the playtime is over, and we will officially enter the dark side of an era. It will be hard to see a lot of named characters get expelled, but Classroom of the Elite is not a really happy story to begin with, so it's better to start praying for your favorite character. And now let's talk about the content of the new special exam, because there are a lot of things that simply feel weird with this exam. For starters, the fact that this exam started when the third year was already exhausted is proof that the new exam is not going to be a direct competition between grades, because that will be a death sentence for the third year. We didn't know what the first and second year students do during the survival game, but the third year students already exhausted both mentally and physically, so asking them to do another round of marathon would automatically put them in last place. Since Ayanokoji mentioned that this new exam will revolve around trust and betrayal, I dare to say that third year students will need to form a cooperation with their junior in the next exam, just like what happened in Volume 1 of the second year arc. The third-year students will need to entrust their lives to their junior, and it will be their battle to decide which one of them could be trusted or not. Of course, that prediction could be totally wrong, but I do think it will be a good choice because that will open a lot of paths for Horikita and Ishigami, or Shiraishi and Tsubasa. Ever since Ishigami confronted Horikita, Strange Link has appeared connecting her with the White Room, and since Volume 3 of the third-year arc doesn't give any hint about this development, I see no reason why they will delay it even further when the next volume has the potential to show us how big the political world is, and how Ayanokoji could influence the whole school. It will push the story even deeper, and finally give a clear direction for the story other than the vague 4-class battle. A lot of people probably thought the theme of betrayal would be directly tied to some students betraying their own class, but I doubt the special exam will ever develop into that way. Ever since the beginning, the school has always pushed the cooperation between students to work as a class, which was the whole reason why Manabu cannot accept Nagumo's ideology. Of course, there was a special case such as Meizono being chosen as the traitor, but the whole concept of class battle is to fight as a class, so I strongly believe the word betrayal that Ayanokoji mentioned is the betrayal among the classes. This is obviously funny because the cooperation between Ayanokoji and Ichinose's class just officially started in Volume 3, so the possibility of them betraying each other in the next volume is something worth waiting for. Back to the concept of the new exam, other than the possibility of cooperation between grades, I got a strong feeling that the result of the survival game will be tied directly to the next exam. For a note, the result of the survival game has not been officially announced, and we also have not yet seen someone from Horikita's class get expelled, or the scene where Horikita used her protect point, so the final result is still kept on hold. Starting another exam right after the survival game feels like a punishment for the students who survive until the end, but it will be a different story if the result is directly linked with the next exam. For example, maybe the winning class will get some kind of advantage such as an early start or the privilege to choose before the others. It's worth mentioning that the first and second years probably know about their exam result, so the winner class will surely rank high on their list. However, No matter what the exam will be, it's hard to think Ayanokoji will lose, especially after we saw his performance in the survival game. Instead of thinking about the exam and the results, it's probably better to think about how Ishigami and the others will bring the story in a completely different direction. Because without any interference or a third party joining the battle, the 4-class battle already has a very predictable result. If Kajima is really involved, and Koenji will be forced to take action, then there might be more hope to save Horikita's class from the lowest position, and it might eventually result in Ryuen's class getting the last place just like in Hiyori's monologue. It is also worth waiting to see whether Ishigami will eventually help Horikita, or maybe Horikita will be asking Tsubasa or Ichika for help. If the next exam really lives up to its dark and dangerous hype, maybe we would eventually see all the negative quotes from the third-year website. It's been a year since all those quotes came out, so this should be the time to reveal them one by one. I know we already had enough bait and hype that ended up in the dust, but the next volume seems promising, or at least seems entertaining with all those characters and plots ready to intertwine. With the release date delayed a few months and season 4 to be aired at the same time, I really hope the next exam will really live up to its hype.